Hello YouTube, this is BUB'S Comics coming at you with a quick comic haul. We're going back to the Golden Age. So let's journey along with me into the past. This first book, I'm very happy with the condition of this one. I'm not a big condition hunter, but man, this one just spoke to me. I love the yellow background covers. Here is Planet Comics number 60 with the Vassals of Volta, a thrilling Lost World adventure. We have this nice purple submarine, which we all live in, I guess. And here is the kind of War of the Worlds type, head, arm, eye thing. Melting the blaster rifle of this fella, so I really like that. She's got on what my wife calls a majorette outfit, so I like that. And that guy looks like the Gorn from Star Trek to me. So a lot going on in this cover. Makes me really happy. One of the few covers that I see that doesn't have any kind of spaceship crash landing. So these guys are coming out of the water, and usually you'll have like 17 spaceships crash landing in the back of these Planet Comics runs. So some more Fiction House goodness. Planet Comics number 60, drawn by Joe Doolin. Fantastic artist. Most of the Planet Comics that I've collected so far have been Doolin covers. So they tend to be the more readily available ones. You get into the Rivet covers, it gets kind of expensive, and you get a little bit more diversity in the artists. But for the latter run, most of them are Doolin covers, and really like this one. He was just fantastic. I guess you could say underrated because you just don't hear much about him. Next we have Planet Comics number 68. Another one of my top condition books. It's got some issues. It has, I think, what will be considered some color touch, but other than that, pretty solid. These Golden Age books, I'm not getting real picky about the condition. I just want a well-presenting cover. That's about it. The rest doesn't matter to me too much. That's how I'm keeping them in budget. And then, like anything else, if I really feel the urge to upgrade it later, I will. Here's Planet Comics number 68. A lot going on in this one. Got the spaceship up top, blasting in the background. Now these are the soldier level bad guys, the soldier level monsters. Don't care as much for the soldier level monsters as I do for the big giant monsters, but these are pretty nasty. So I like that. Look at that. Those guys look like Neanderthal gremlins or something. They are ugly. They got the webbed hands. They got the trident, making you think they might be coming out of some kind of watery place. It's pretty cool. And she looks fantastic. I love her shape and figure. Shield is cool. She's holding back. And you got kind of an older guy here for once, which you don't see too often. So that's pretty cool. He's blasting away. Really like her shape and the way that her boots and everything. Man, look at that. That's tough. So loving this. Maurice Whitman cover. I think it's my first Whitman cover of the Planet Comics run, so I'm happy with that. It says Synthoids of the Ninth Moon, and of course Star Pirate and Space Rangers are in this comic as well. So cool stuff. Very happy to have it. This was actually a Instagram trade to get this book, and we had a couple of books thrown in on top of that to round up to value. So super excited about this trade. Did awesome on it. Next we have, this is an eBay pickup, and it's Wings Comics number 76. So we're kind of keeping with Fiction House here for a minute. Probably my favorite publisher definitely my favorite publisher of the Golden Age. If you're into Golden Age horror, you're not going to probably be a big Fiction House fan. They had one title called Ghosts, and it kind of dabbled into a little bit, and then there's some select covers in the Fiction House group banner that have a couple of horror type covers, but mostly if you're into pre-code horror, Fiction House is not going to be your publisher. Now they had several publishers, they had several comics like Wings and like Planet that actually started in pulps prior to the comic era. So you had like Planet Stories, you had Wings was also one that carried over. And then they kind of suspended it a little bit and brought it back during the conversion to the comics. So of those, and there's several, they had like a top 6 or so, a big 6 if you will, titles that they carried from pulps to comics. But the Wings comics is actually something about this aviation kind of interests me. I've never been a big war comic collector. Don't really care for infantry scenes or things like that, but something about the aviation books really grabs my attention. And it's kind of a quasi superhero book too. This is Captain Wings, and I'm pretty sure that the name that they gave this lady here, who's clearly the bad guy, right? Because Captain Wings hanging from underneath the freaking plane, and she's still got a gun in her hand, so she's probably the bad guy. And I think her name is Sky Hag. So if any of you are hanging from the bottom of a plane and there's a woman inside and holding a gun to your head, she's probably a Sky Hag. So I think that's a pretty good description. This is my first Bob Lubbers cover as well. So happy to have that. The other Wings comics I have is Lee Elias. So glad to have this one. Not sure what I'm going to do with it. I might take it into work and put it on the Golden Age wall at work. So we'll see. But there you go. Wings Comics number 76. Another Fiction House for you. And keeping with the Fiction House. This is almost getting ridiculous. Someone stop me. Here is Jungle Comics. This one is the Kanga, which is what I call, or Kaanga, whatever. Kanga covers. That's Kanga in the background. That dude flying through the trees. Fiction House had like 3 or 4 jungle characters. Of course, Sheena, everyone remembers Sheena, and she's permeated through the modern era too. She's lasted. Everyone remembers Sheena as being the big one, but actually, they had like 3 or 4. They had Sheena, they had this chick, I forget her name, and they had Tiger Girl or something like that. They had a few. And they really did. They had like different colored hair. Was pretty much the only difference between them. Like Sheena was a blonde. Trying to think if Tiger Girl, I think she might have been blonde also. Maybe not. I had this chick with black hair. So anyway, here's the monkeys coming in from all angles. Really like that. And I love the top of these Jungle comics where they had all that detail in the background of the trade dress. So I like that. Queen of the Amazon Lancers. This is I think it's a John Solardo. Let me see. Yep, yeah, it's a John Solardo cover. So he did a lot of the work. He was in-house fiction. He was in Stable Fiction House. So did a lot of good work for them. It is what it is. Jungle Comics. To me, I like the Jungle Comics run and the Jumbo Comics, which is more where Sheena started, and I enjoy those probably the most. Now there's some other ones. Fiction House had a lot of other types of titles, like Indian titles. They had like Wambi and Indian Boy or something like that. They had a lot of they had Western. They had jungle titles. But for me, if I'm looking for the beauties and the beasts, which is what I collect mostly, so the best beauties were in Jungle Comics, and Sheena had her own title for a while. And actually, Sheena is the first female character to have her own title. So she beat Wonder Woman to that spot. So and then also Jumbo Comics and Jungle Comics to me on this end. And then of course I like the Planet Comics, and for some reason I just like Wings. It just calls to me. So anyway, next we'll switch gears on publishers a little bit. We've just got a couple left here, so hope y'all are hanging with me. We have Weird Fantasy number 7. These are some EC titles. That one's by Al Feldstein. So I really like this one. This one is another one that has kind of that Star Trek vibe. So it has, those space guys, and they're standing there, they're kind of looking at a ship and talking about it, what's coming next. It's pretty cool. So Weird Fantasy number 7, not much to say on that one. Just a cool cover. I like her outfit. I like her hair in that too. And the guys look pretty cool. So there you go. Next we get into some of the big boys of the haul, which I'm real excited about. We have Weird Science number 10. That's a great Wally Wood cover. Look at that. I just find myself staring at these Wally Wood covers. There's just so much to see in them. Wally Wood, of course, the master of the slime monster. Like, it was very liquid and visceral. The monsters that he made. Also got a great classic rocket in there. I mean, just fantastic. Really, really awesome. It was Wally Wood, man. Whew. I know he collaborated some with Dave Stevens much later in his career, so I like to pick up some of those collaborations too. I think they did World of Wood together for a couple of issues, so really enjoyed the Wally Wood stuff. These are my first EC books. The only thing I don't like about them is that they're a little too big. So I like the Fiction House they're just a hair bigger than Silver Age, so they fit mostly in Silver Age bags and boards. As you can tell, very tight. You know, they're very tight in the Silver Age bags and boards. But these ECs, they're golden. I mean, they're 100% golden size. So, and I have a spot for books that big, but really it's probably not big enough. So, well, it's shrinking anyway. So here you go, Weird Science number 10. If the name sounds familiar, that's because, of course, the movie Weird Science with Anthony Michael Hall and Kelly LeBrock. Great movie. Loved it as a kid. Thought it was awesome. And, of course, it borrows the name from this magazine, actually. So it comes from this comic. There was a story about it that was kind of similar to the one that they used for the plot in Weird Science, but that was kind of coincidental. Mostly it was just the actual name was all it was, is that they had bought the names to all these EC books, and so they ended up using Weird Science as the name for that movie. But that's really the only connection. Next we have Weird Science number 17, another Wally Wood cover. This one's bananas. So take a look at this. You got like, I don't know, 20 dead people on the ground. You know, this one gets a little rough. Look at all that. Look at that nasty, drooling snot monster. That's pretty tough. So, everybody looking rough. There's a pretty woman in the back, but she might be dead. And then there's that one there hanging upside down. I think that's amazing. Just amazing, man. Wally Wood. Talk about a master. Weird Science number 17. Just amazing. It's funny because I almost don't know what to say about these. They're so good. They're just so good. You can get these fairly inexpensive. You know, these EC books, they don't come up that often, but when they do come up, they're readily available. They're, you know, I guess higher print runs for these. You know, they're considered the gold standard of pre-code stuff. So, you know, just great. And, you know, my collection kind of shows that you can be into pre-code things, Golden Age, and not really have to get all horror stuff, you know. So if you like Golden Age, but you're not a big horror fan, there's lots of sci-fi in there and kind of quasi-superhero stuff. So, you know, that's what I gravitate towards. Absolutely love these. I hope you all are enjoying this little Golden Age journey I'm on. You know, I'm still picking up keys and other things, and my want list to go to the convention's filled with a lot of those superhero titles. But I gotta tell you, I'm really enjoying these hunting down these Golden Age books, and it's quite challenging. The way it goes, you're going through eBay, you see a cover that you really like, you want to get it. You don't really know how much it's worth because there's a lot of stuff out there, so you're kind of hesitant. You don't buy it right away because you want to kind of learn the market a little bit better, and then you just don't see that book come up again for like 4 weeks or 4 months, and you're like, what happened? You know, I can't even, now I know how much I want to spend for this book, and nobody's selling one. So you kind of have to know what you want to spend before the book shows up. So you have to do a little bit more research in the Golden Age to be able to recognize a book as soon as it comes up. Literally, sometimes these books sell out in seconds. In seconds. You can be the 5th person on an Instagram post to say, claim, don't get it. You can set all the settings you want on eBay, and by the time you get the email notification that this book's available, it's already sold by the time you click through the link. I mean, it's amazing. How Golden Age collectors are really on top of their game for catching the books as soon as they hit market. So anyway, that's my little Golden Age haul. Good luck collecting, everybody. I've really been enjoying it, and we will leave you probably with this Wally Wood right here, the one I stare at all day, every day. So thank you all, and we'll catch you next time on Bub's Comics. So read a comic. Thanks. Bye.